Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today it's 1st of January 2024, the first day of the year. I would like to take this opportunity to wish you all of you a very happy new year. I wish you all the best. This new year is starting right now. Let's make it count, okay? And to celebrate this date, we are going to have a lovely man called Matt. Matt is from England in the UK. So let's see what Matt has to say. Enjoy the interview. Happy New Year. So hello, Matt. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, William. How are you?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time this evening for the interview. Thank you very much.
Not at all. It's a pleasure.
I love your jumper.
Thank you very much. It's a definite winner for Christmas jumpers.
Wow.
I get complimented on it most of the time that I go out wearing it,
Amazing.
and yeah, and the embarrassing thing is that people ask me where I bought it from, and my wife got it for me. So it's something that I think she found from a company on Facebook, and I couldn't say exactly who or where. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to know either, because if I tell them, then everyone will have one. So
Good. Very good. Keep the secret.
yes, indeed.
I
Thank
like
you.
the Christmas mix with the Superman. I think it's all connected. I love it. Oh my God.
It, and it's
Amazing.
got the cape on the back, so it's got
Wow.
everything.
Amazing.
However, I've got my new Christmas jumper lined up. I'm not going to go into too much detail, other
Right.
than it's well, actually, no, I will. It's Shaun of the Dead. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Shaun of the Dead.
No, it rings a bell because I love movies, but like right now, I don't see which one it'll be.
Well, in which case, I won't go into too much detail, other than it has a tie on the front as part of the design, and it's got a pen in the pocket, and there's red under the pocket. And if you know the film, you'll want to buy this jumper. It's an astounding jumper. Anyway,
As
I'm going on too much about jumpers.
as we are talking about, jumpers, Christmas. So tell me, for you, what's the meaning of Christmas? What do you like the most about this season time?
Oh wow, that is a good question. I've come from a very kind of religious family, so but this is the big but. So it has historically always been about religion and faith, but I am no longer religious. So I think for me now, Christmas is more about family and friends, and and I suppose there is also an element of charity and kind of support for community. So yeah, it's kind of a mix of all of that. Yeah, and that we have in previous years and this year we've helped. I say we, my wife and I have helped our local community with a community cafe. So kind of pay what you can afford. We did that last week, and in previous years we've helped out with preparing food for a Christmas meal. I think we did that on it might have been either the Christmas Eve or I can't properly remember, but we did it once. But this time and more frequently we do a community cafe, and this year I was the Father Christmas at the community cafe, so I gave
Wow.
out presents. It's lovely.
Wow, I'm so glad you shared that, Matt, because nowadays, people they lost a little bit of the spirit of Christmas because they say, "Oh, it's too commercial right now. It's all about the presents." And I'm so glad you're sharing this right now because there are people out there, making a Christmas in a with different eyes, like how it's, let's say, meant to be or how people they expect to be. So I'm so glad you
Yeah,
mentioned that.
yeah. I, sorry, I've got in the back of my head. There's a comedy sketch where people say they do a lot for charity and they don't like to talk about it, but they're talking about it. And so yeah, it's not something I've openly generally talked about. I do a bit of live TikToky stuff, and I don't think I've ever mentioned it there. I've probably mentioned I dressed up as Father Christmas, but that's probably as far as I've gone.
I
But
see.
yeah, I think it's nice to do. And in I think you're from the same. You're from the United Kingdom. You're in London, I think. Yeah, I'm noticing more and more people are more and more hard up. Bills are only going one way up, and the cost of living is difficult. So
Yeah.
anything that I can do to help, and my wife does to help, we do try to do. So yeah, and as you say, and as you've said, Christmas has seemed to be kind of hijacked almost by commercialism, and there is this need to buy the latest thing and have the latest gadget and what have you. But there's a lot of people that are struggling, and I think just to even have a Christmas meal is sometimes a bit of a stretch. So it's nice to be able to do something on that front. Yeah.
Amazing. So Matt, tell me where are you from?
Well, initially I was from Southeast London, so a little place out in Kent, just out of London, called Sidcup. So that's where I'm kind of originally from. And then over the course of years, I've moved to closer to London, moved into Birmingham for about a year, work related. Then we moved down to the place where we wanted to be, was kind of Brighton on the south coast. And we've kind of migrated away from Brighton a little bit. And we're kind of now between Brighton and Worthing, on the sea. If I look out the window, if it wasn't pitch black out there, I can see the sea.
Wow.
And if I go upstairs, I can see the Rampion, which is the wind turbines just on the horizon. It's a lovely place.
Amazing. And what do you do for work, for living?
That is a good question. I'm an energy manager, and that means a lot to hardly anyone knows what that means. But it's pretty basic. I help businesses save energy. I've worked in the energy sector for quite some time, so I've worked on bill validation and procurement. So trying to get the best price or a good, decent price for the utility through bill validation and making sure that what you've used is what you pay for. And there are lots of little things in the bill that you can save money on, all the way through to surveying and reviewing properties, offices, hospitals, blood centres, donation centres, to I'm just trying to think of some of the universities. I used to work at a local university for quite some time, and you look for areas to save. What I generally say is turn it off, control it, buy a new one. It's kind of that kind of process. If you can turn something off, great, you're saving energy. If you can control it so that it's only used when you need it, that's kind of the next step. And there's technologies behind all of that. And then buying a new one. It could be out of date. You might need a new boiler. We might need new lights to go from like fluorescent to LED. And then after all of that, I would then say renewables and wind and solar thermal, solar electric. And I've got an understanding of kind of that spectrum of things. And ultimately it helps cut carbon, which is highly important, and so that people can get to net carbon zero. I could talk about that for ages. And obviously money, which I think everyone wants to save money. So it ticks a lot of boxes. It keeps me happy. It's a job that I think is useful, beneficial, and rewarding, both for the planet but for myself and what have you. So it ticks a lot of boxes. I'm quite happy. I do have other jobs as well, but they're on the side kind of thing.
Amazing. Okay, so for the journey, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life, your point of views, and your joys as well. Okay. Matt, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
We'll give it a go.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I've got him. Okay, full of random fun questions.
Okay.
I'm just going to play a song now just for us to relax a bit before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Right, so before we start the game, Matt, during the journey, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
Right, first question for you is, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
I genuinely don't have a bucket list. I guess for the reason that, and I'm not going to draw this answer out too long, that if I've ever wanted to do something, I will make a point of doing it. And if I don't do it, I clearly don't want to do it enough. So it might be something like, I don't know. I would like to do I would like to skydive.
Okay.
But the only thing that stopped me from doing it is my mum has said that my eyeballs will pop out. Um, so if I go back to that point, skydiving, I had an operation on my eye, which makes one of my eyes slightly bigger than the other. And I was told that because of the operation, it kind of has weakened a part of my eye. So it's on my bucket list, but I'm scared that if I do it, it could make me go blind. So it's blind in one eye. So I've listened to my mum, who's also said I'm allergic to penicillin, and that turned out to be a lie. So I don't know whether I just ignore that and do it anyway. But that's actually, the more I say it, the more that's something I'd like to do. I would, as a bucket list, I don't know whether this is ever possible, but I would like to go backstage at Glastonbury Festival. I love Glastonbury Festival. That's something that I try to get to every year. I know of people that might be able to help me do that, but I haven't been last year, and the year before I tried, and unfortunately they couldn't swing it. But that would be my bucket list. And that's not a massive thing. And again, this is self-indulgent, isn't it? This isn't like a kind of a wish for the world. I think maybe this is a bit of a weak one, but maybe to go to Japan with my family, but purely because my family want to go. It's not necessarily something I'd like to do, but I think I would like to go with them because I'd like to see their expressions and their enjoyment of it.
Which one do you think is going to be the first one to happen between the three of them?
So yeah, it has to be Glastonbury first.
Amazing. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Yes, you always can join me dancing. Next question for you is, how do you make friends?
That is a great question. I don't know. How do I make friends? I'm relatively open, as I hope this interview would kind of highlight, that I'm quite comfortable in talking about anything and everything. But mainly, I probably make friends through common interest. So I'm active in a local theatre. I do help them in terms, if I'm not on stage, I will help out front of house. No, I have a good new group of friends. I've probably, because I've gone through having children, that your life kind of gets put on hold. So to be asked about making friends after you've not really been social and socializing for 12 years, you kind of think, I don't have any friends. That doesn't happen. But no, I do have a good group of core friends, and it's really been through the fact that we've got children of a similar age. And we regularly meet up now through poker. So one of us will host a poker night, and that's kind of how it's now been. And then more people kind of have joined the group, and we have friends in that group. And it's not just poker. We'll meet up, have a fire pit, go around, and yeah. So it's just been through that I do imagine that my circle of friends are growing through that kind of place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you're saying, because, as you said, there is some periods of your life, like when you have children, it's a different, you have different programs. When you are just you have a partner, but you don't have kids, it's a different program. When you are single, different programs. And through those programs, that's how you make new friends. And that's how things happen.
I think, I'll be honest, and before that, I mean, me and my wife used to go to the pub down again, and we developed a friendship there. That we're still in contact with them, not every day, but there's a guy that I will ask how he is every now and again, and really good guy. So more of a social environment, like down the pub or something like that. 3 kids now post, and in fact we have made other friends, but unfortunately it's through the pub. That sounds awful. We're not alcoholics. But Yeah, we've made a good couple of friends. In fact, one of the partner, their partners, husband and wife, um, she's actually a teacher of my daughter.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter can't stand it because every now and again the teacher will say something in class that they met down the pub, and I think she's saying it in a way to kind of make my daughter seem cool. But
Oh,
unfortunately, she's of an age where no one else is cool because we're too old. She's a teenager, so what can you do? Yeah, I hope I've answered that.
absolutely. I think it's just they're not right or wrong. It's just a genuine answer. That's what matters. Next question. Let's do it.
Right.
Before the next question, as you mentioned about, you've got kids, you are a dad. So tell me, what's the best part of being a dad? What's the biggest joy of it?
It's changed throughout the years. My kids, obviously, they're now, one's almost a teenager, the other one is fast approaching, but mentally, thankfully, some way off, in the nicest possible sense. And it changes. It goes from just like first words, walking, all of that early stuff that is a joy, but at the same time, there's the nappy changing and the sleepless nights and the tiredness and the not being able to kind of have any kind of social life. To now seeing them flourish. I mean, I'm jumping. There's massive stages between there and there. That it's now the learning. I mean, for my youngest, it's the learning. It's seeing the development in certain areas. The development differences between the two of our children is so vast that anything that, I mean, my youngest is doing is a joy, is equally as much joyful as the first. But our first seems to have gone through education without any support. They've just gone, and I'm not saying they're acing everything, but they are self kind of, what's the word, self-sufficient in the sense that I don't have to chase them up to do homework. They do it. They don't have to be the best in the class. I would never put that kind of demand on them. The fact that they're doing it and in some areas enjoying it, obviously you can't enjoy school all the time, but they're doing really well. For our other child, I would imagine there's going to need to be a bit more encouragement, but what they are doing and how they're developing is a joy. Now it's a case of having kind of almost intellectual conversation, which is again equally a joy. And even the sass, even the kind of the chat back, I love in that, because I know I'm not that old to remember how I could have been. I don't think I was ever that gobby, but my mum did always say about me that I could be a politician because I had an answer for everything. And so and when I say an answer for everything, it's generally not answering the question. I've skirted around some. I keep getting these messages pop up here, but yeah. So that's a joy, and something I do like, and I know we're now coming around to this again. I mean, something that I've done since my son was born. So that was 10 years ago. Every Boxing Day / Christmas, I do an interview with them. I've interviewed them every year, and I know it's been about 10 years because about 10 years ago, I was chatting to Florence, who would have been 2, and she was saying what her favourite colour is, who her best friends are, all this kind of stuff. And her voice is so cute and baby.
Oh.
And you can hear my son in the background breathing. And he was not, I couldn't have interviewed him then. And every year I do the same thing. And I go through the same old pattern. And that is a joy to listen to go back to and hear their best friends, their favourite colours. They're the most simplest of questions, but yet at the time it seems a nonsense because you kind of think, I'm not really getting anything from this. But when you go back and you listen to it again, that's a joy. And that kind of reminds you where they've come from and their little journeys that they've had so far. And I hope to continue doing that. Because the power of, and it's just sound. I've not videoed them, which is kind of sad. It's kind of sad to not have that visual memory. But on the flip side, it does take me back to that room that we had in a house that we lived in 10 years ago, that we were renting, that we had to move out of because the landlady was needed to get us out, and we needed to move somewhere else, and it was the weirdest of times, but it puts you back in there. And so yeah, that's one element of a journey. But yeah, for me, it's just seeing them develop and seeing them grow.
I love the idea, and actually you're just giving this idea for the whole world right now. Imagine people like, oh my god, I'm gonna be parent soon, I'm gonna have this idea now. And actually I have a 4 years godson, he's 4 years old. And I on the show I interviewed someone, long time ago, a while ago, and this person told me that I think was his grandmother or his aunt, that they had a rule between them. They were meeting every weekend. They were not parents, they were like grandmother or aunts or something, like connect. So they were meeting, and they have a rule between them. They could ask any question, so they could talk about that during the meal or during the. And I love that, and I can't wait for my godson when he grows up. He's back in Canada. They are French, so I can't wait for when he starts to understand more life. And when I meet them, I'm gonna have this idea of, okay, you can ask me anything. Let's talk about anything you'd like to talk about. Any question that maybe you heard somewhere, or maybe something that you like to talk. Let's talk about. I think that's a connection you are starting with the child, and this what you're doing. It's amazing. It's like a life story. Like you putting together, and I think people appreciate that. Imagine how people start doing that. I think it's going to be amazing, giving ideas to people to get these memories from them.
Yeah, it all started just one year, and I just thought, I'm going to do it.
They are gold memories. That's always there for sure. Okay, next question is, tell me 3 fun facts about yourself.
3 fun facts. I love these questions because they're so open that my mind is just kind of boggling about fun facts. I helped install the largest solar panel array at higher education within this country back in 2016, 2017. So that's a fun fact. That's probably going to be one of my legacies. Although I've always wanted to kind of top that. I've always wanted to top that. A fun fact about me: I think I've run 4 marathons.
Wow.
3 in London, 1 in Brighton.
Wow.
And as I'm referring to, again, this is my fastest time was 3 hours 39. I was gunning for 3 hours 30. Maybe that's a bucket list as well. I think maybe I want to do sub 3:30, but that's never going to happen. Apologies. Another bucket list is to swim the Channel. That actually, is possibly, instead of taking my family to Japan, I'd rather swim the Channel. That's on my CV.
They're gonna watch this.
Sorry?
They're gonna watch this. They're gonna go like, what?
I know. No, it's to swim the Channel. I can't believe I've got that. That's how my brain works. It gives me information when it's 5 questions too late. So, my dad, this is a fun fact about me, and it's something I'm highly proud of. My dad invented the very first running bottle that has a hole in the middle. So if you've ever seen, you know the designs now of any kind of sports bottle, plastic bottle that you buy in a shop, if it's got a hole in the middle, the original very first design of bottle, my dad and his friend, who now unfortunately has taken he seems to have claimed the whole sole rights on all of that. But they, as a partnership, they designed what was called the Runaid feed bottle. And before that, there was something called a jetpack, which was what looked like a really flimsy plastic thing that looked like a bomb, for want of a better term. It was really weak plastic with a big straw on it. And it would only ever be able to use once. You had to fill it up, you used it, and you threw it away. And so my dad, bearing in mind this is a long time ago, this is probably when I was at primary school, so a good 40 years ago, developed this running bottle. It had a flip top lid. You put your hand in the middle, and you didn't have to hold onto the bottle. It just kind of fitted around your hand. And They developed it, they designed it, they mass produced it, and every year we used to watch the London Marathon and spot them in the London Marathon. We'd watch it, which is kind of why I'm kind of wanted to do the London Marathon, because my dad always said he'd only do the London Marathon if he ran it. And because he said that, it almost prevented him from doing the London Marathon. He created a caveat that stopped him. And so because my dad never did it, I always had to do the London Marathon, and hence why I did. Yeah, but back to the point, it's one of my kind of claims to fame, or a fact that not many people know about me. And I'll only mention it if I see someone with what looks like a Run bottle, and I'll say my dad invented that, and I'm ultimately proud of that.
Wow. Amazing. Just made my day now. Learned something new. Didn't know that. There we go. What's your dad's name?
My dad is Raymond Arnold. But yeah, my dad still has the clay model that he made at the time. And yeah, the original prototypes and all that stuff. And yeah, it's something I think to be proud of.
Amazing. Very good. Ready for another one? Let's do it. Next question. Okay, next question for you is, what makes you feel discouraged?
What makes me feel discouraged? A lot of things. I'll be completely honest with you. Any kind of feedback or it's mad. That makes me feel discouraged. Any form of feedback, I feel discouraged. And I have to constantly remind myself that it's not necessarily a failure, and it's not someone trying to pull me up or pull me down. It's generally coming from the right place.
Yeah.
So any type of manager that I've ever had or ever I'm likely to have, I have to go through almost like a journey of, this is not personal. This is they want the best, I believe, for me, and I have to keep constantly reminding myself of that. So yes, that's how I get discouraged. I think negativity discourages me. And I do a little bit of stuff on TikTok, and there are times where I think maybe I'm not mentally in the right place to be on TikTok, to then have people, say nasty things or rude things. If I'm in the right place, I can deal with it, not a problem, move on. But if I'm not in the right place, I get caught and I get stuck. And then I'm in a place of conflict. It doesn't happen very often, but I think if there's enough people that kind of are intending on creating discomfort, then I do get discomforted. But I think on the whole, I do try and look for the best in people, and therefore, even if people are being rude, I will very quickly try and find the positive and almost neutralize it before it even becomes a thing. I'm telling you my answers or my solutions before, discomfort.
Amazing. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt from England. Next question is, what is the scary thing that happened to you?
One of the most scariest things I've ever done myself was to do a stand-up routine, which sounds really odd because I've done some things that have been frightening. I mean, you could say getting to the start line of a London Marathon is relatively frightening and scary. But for me, I did a 5-minute routine. I think there was a reference to the 5 minutes, that you had to do 5 minutes. So if you didn't fill the 5 minutes, you had to stand there. And if you went over 5 minutes, they just stopped you. And I'd always liked, that's again another bucket list. I would always like to do stand-up. It's the most frightening thing in the world. I've done stuff on stage before, but there's a massive difference. There's one thing learning lines, being a character, being a comedic character, and not getting a laugh because you're reading a script, you're pretending to be someone else. If you don't get the joke, it doesn't really matter because it's not you. But when you do stand up, and bearing in mind I've only done it once, you're putting your jokes out there, you're putting your personality out there. And if they don't laugh, it's you. And now either I can go at it from a state of I'm going to create a persona, and then I feel, is it genuine? Am I coming from a genuine place? And are people going to laugh because it's funny, or it's a character? And so yeah, when I did the stand up, it was frightening, and it was frightening because they pulled your name out of a hat, so you didn't know when you were going to go on, and I was near the end, and every time they're pulling a name out of the hat, you're thinking I might have to go up now. Oh, it was so nerve wracking. Then when I finally did it, bearing in mind other people had done it before me, other people were doing it off their phones, they were reading it out, and they were testing their jokes. But even that said, it was the most frightening thing I feel like I've done. Because again, it's not even like a presentation, it's just you and people laughing. And if people don't laugh, it hurts. So that probably was the most frightening thing. I've done other things, but nowhere near as frightening as that.
It's interesting you saying that, because I had interviewed different stand-up comedians around the world, and there was a lovely man from New York City, but now he lives in LA, and he, he's a stand-up comedian, and he told me that when he started his career, I think he was in Boston, and he was very scared, and the audience wasn't connecting. They were kind of, and he said that he remembers in the back of the back of the stage, like the back of the audience, someone drink a glass of water or something, and he could hear the glass literally in the table. That's how the silence said, William, I would prefer that people, they boo me or they start saying something, but I can hear this. When I heard this glass blink, like in the very back of the stage, I said, oh my God, what I'm doing here right now. Yeah. So it's interesting because, of course, you're going to go through that, you know what I mean? I think anything you do, stage or in life, there's always those up and downs, and he said that was really frightening for him too. He said if they were like boo me or saying something, I would appreciate it, but because I heard this glass, this click on the table, I was like, wow, he was literally like, he got traumatized by this noise of that glass in the back of the audience. Yeah.
Wow. Funny. No, yeah, I can kind of, I can empathize with that. Yeah,
it's fun. It's one of those things, it's all part of the journey, I believe.
Yeah.
2 questions left. Sorry, you want to say something?
No, that's fine.
Okay, 2 questions left. Let's do it. Matt, so today is the first day of 2024. 2023 just finished. 2024 just starting now. New year ahead starting. My question for you is, when you look back in 2023, what if you could, like, what do you think about the year for you? Did something that 2023 brought for you or taught you, or something about the year that you're gonna go like, okay, this year for me, the highlight, or something that you're gonna take for your life? And also, 2024 is starting now, the first day of the year. Do you do like new resolutions, or you kind of person just go with the flow? How do you feel during this period of the year that's starting right now?
2023 has been an okay year. It's been a quite a positive year. I'd like to think that I have opened myself up to opportunities and different kind of I don't know. I've probably been a bit more active, I suppose, on TikTok. Sorry to keep mentioning that, but and I've noticed in the last few months that it has grown. That I've had more viewers and likes and all that kind of stuff, which is not necessarily a life goal to get more likes and what have yous, but I think that's something that I'd like to take through into 2024 in terms of growing growing on that platform and actually doing something more positive. I think I may have mentioned briefly to you on a live post that I'm wanting to grow my TikTok so that I do something that you're doing right now, which is to interview people. I love the fact that you're interviewing random people like myself. I'm no one in particular, and I like that. However, what I'm thinking of doing for 2024 is to interview people that I know that are kind of aspiring musicians are already active musicians and people that are active in different areas that I would like to chat with, ask questions of. So that's something that I'd like to take through. In 2023, we did have a kind of an interesting. It's been a hard few months. I'll be honest. I don't want to necessarily dwell on it, but there's been a hard couple of months, mentally, psychologically. That has brought me down. It has really affected me, and it's still something that I'm battling through. And I'd hope that I can take some learnings and lessons from that, so that I can then, I don't imagine that I'm never going to be confronted with a similar kind of scenario or something that's going to have a similar effect on me. But I'd like to think that I can take strength from how I've overcome that in 2023 and how I can improve myself in 2024. I know that sounds very woolly, but without wanting to go into too much detail, I'd like to be able to carry that through. And in terms of New Year's resolutions, I've always tried to keep them to a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think 2024 I'll do more sea swimming. I mean, it's something that I used to do a lot years ago. It's something that I have just dropped. I think because it's become more popular, I seem to have stopped doing it. But I think I'm going to invest in a again, this is almost like a bucket list, but get one of these dry rope things and get in the sea on more of a regular basis. I think I do run as regularly as I can. I do have cold showers as every day.
Wow.
I need to create more good habits, and I do see sea swimming as being a good habit. I don't smoke. I am vegetarian, but I'd like to, again, if I can get to become a vegan, that's a goal. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. Let's see how obviously today goes and the weeks that follow.
Amazing. Okay. Next question for you is, oh, I love this question. This question is my favorite question of the Magic Box, okay? And it came up to you. Okay. Right. Send away a message to someone, but you don't need to tell who this message is for.
Gosh, that's a good question. But again, it kind of, who can I send the message to? Oh gosh, that's. I guess the message would be I'm always proud of you. I will always support every decision that you choose to make, even though those choices have made 2023 interesting to say the least. Whatever choices you continue to make in 2024 and thereon, I will continually support and do everything that I can to enable the life choices that you're making to come true.
Amazing, beautiful, 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 amazing. I can see this person smiling right now with this message.
I hope so.
I've got goosebumps now. My God, beautiful. Ready for the last question?
Yes.
Let's do it. Last one. But before the last question, Matt, you mentioned during the interview about your passion about marathon, like running marathon. Oh, yeah. Just if you can share, just a situation that you happened to you, those when you're running, or like a fun fact or something that happened to you that you could share that you're never gonna forget.
A fun fact from marathon running. I did have, and I don't seem to do it anymore, but maybe because I don't run as far now. But I used to have a mantra that I would say over and over in my head.
Oh wow!
And it wasn't necessarily. I just remembered it now. 2 10 in a microphone. I think for some reason I had the mantra. When I did probably my fast marathon was Iron Man, 2 turntables and a microphone. And I don't know what. I think that was a mixture of Beck and I think it was from two turntables and a microphone from a Beck song, and that I used to say that over and over in my head. Why I don't know, but it encouraged me to kind of keep going because it kind of went in time with my stride.
Right. Last question for you is, what is a negative thing that happened to you that came out as a positive thing in the end?
But I know this sounds really odd, but I do like to be actively involved in local theatre, which I've kind of mentioned. And it's really weak. But I've gone for auditions before for plays that I've really wanted to do, and I've not been successful. And it's been like up until the most recent one that I've not been successful, and it still eats me up, and I'm still quite angry and bitter about it. Invariably, the ones in the past that I've gone for that I've not got, something in life has happened that has work has got really intense, or something has happened in my private life that's got really intense, that I've then looked back and gone, geez, if I'd been doing the rehearsals 3 times a week and this had come along, I would have folded. I would have really, really struggled. And I know that sounds really weak. It is a commitment to act, and therefore I like to give it my all when I'm doing anything. I like to give everything. Almost like this interview, I want to try and give everything that I've got. And so I guess in those circumstances, they have worked out as a blessing. Even actually, now I say it, the last one I went for, I still really want. But given what we've just recently gone through, which I've said was the 2023 bit, it's probably a good thing I didn't get that part, because that really knocked me almost to the floor. And I think if I was having to focus on that as well, maybe it would have been a nice distraction, but I don't think I could have given it everything. That's interesting, actually.
Amazing. I love your answer. I love it, the honesty. Amazing. Okay, it's not the end yet. Let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking, okay?
Okay.
One word for money.
It's supposed to be quick. God, I've agreed.
Okay, family.
Support.
Life.
Family.
Fear.
Challenge.
Love.
Happiness.
Sex.
Yes, please.
Okay. Religion.
Control.
Politics.
Failed.
Friendship.
Important.
Desire.
Think of a word. Come on. I think my brain just cannot do desire. There.
Okay, I like it. Regret.
Pointless.
Happiness.
Important.
Success.
Relative.
Wish.
Peace.
One word for England.
Broken.
One word for marathon.
Achievable.
One word for your TikTok page.
Random.
Like that. And the last one now. One word for 2023.
Success.
Amazing. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your wife for a coffee. Okay, I'm going to ask your wife. Define Matt in one positive word and one negative word only. What should say?
Oh, I would hope supportive.
Okay.
And a negative word. Um, belligerent.
Okay, I like these words. I like this. What's the meaning?
And that is that I when I'm very it's very difficult for me to sometimes um say sorry or
I see.
accept that I've made a mistake.
I see. Okay, you just made my day now. Learn something new. I love it. Let's play now, Matt, and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Hey, Matt, you can ask me a question now.
I have to say, I know you've asked me to kind of have one prepared, and I couldn't, and I haven't. But and I know what I can't ask. So yeah, a lot of the questions that were going through my head were based on this, which obviously I'm not going to ask. What would you say was one of your earliest childhood memories that makes you happy?
Oh my God, I love the question. I was thinking about something else, but the end of your question direct me to another parts. I thought you'd ask me my first childhood memories, but the happiest one, it straight away came another memory, and I'll tell you right now. The first memory that I have that for me was like I would never forget. It was my very first day at school. It
Wow.
was for me. It was for me the happiest moment because I'll tell you why. I was 5 years old, and I have two cousins. They are older than me. And
Yeah.
prior to that, the 2 years before, when I was 4 years old, I remember them going to school for the first time, and I was literally crying like crazy because I wanted to go as well, but I was underage. I couldn't go. And my grandmother, on the first day of my cousin, she asked the head teacher if I could attend at least the first class because I was literally crying. I want just to be there. And I remember like there is a picture of me sit down like my eyes were shining, and I was sitting this on the side of my cousin, and she was very angry because she didn't want me there. Of course, she didn't want me there. Embarrassed for her.
Mhm.
But the head teacher allowed me to stay at least for a few hours in the first day, just for me to make me calm a little bit. Anyway, this one year before. So my first day, 1 year after when I started school, I literally remember like I remember holding the hands of my colleagues and going to the classroom. I remember my first teacher. She was for me like an idol for me because I was so in love with her. Like everything she was saying for me, it was the most beautiful thing. So yeah, the happiest time I
Wow.
remember from my childhood was my very first day at school. That for me was like memorable. I'll never forget that.
That's amazing. One that you can remember,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
two, it's going to school.
It was 5 years old. I remember it was 5 years old. Yeah. And I'm gonna share as well when you said about my earliest memory in life. It was my dad's a truck driver, and the first memory that I have, I remember I have this vague memory of him. It was just like this lake. He was driving me somewhere, like when he was traveling, he was driving me when he could. So I remember him holding my hand and take me on his truck. And I remember this lake was like early evening.
Yeah.
I remember this lake. You know when you are like in the countryside, you can start like the mosquitoes or these night
Mhm.
mosquitoes. So I remember like hearing these mosquitoes, and I remember him like holding my hand from the lake to his truck and take me and sit me on the truck and drive me somewhere. So I had this vague memory. So that was the earliest one.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Um, that just as a side to that, and it's not the same thing, but there's a song called the JCB song. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, I'm not familiar.
Um, it's a song about a memory of a. He basically sings a song about the first. Well, one of his first memories. He's 5 years old and he's sitting in his dad's JCB, which is one of these kind of like diggers.
Right.
And it's a song all about that, about sitting really high up, stopping the traffic, being almost like um, being a part of something for the first time. And yeah, I think you'd like that song. It's quite an old song now, the JCB song.
I like that.
It was due to be a Christmas number one year, but some time ago. Yeah, maybe it might resonate with you.
Amazing.
No, that's lovely.
Ma, did you enjoy the interview?
I did indeed. It's been a joy. It's not often that you get asked to, people ask how you are. People kind of ask questions, but you never really truly have the opportunity to kind of think about something and an answer, hopefully to the fullest. And yeah, it does feel very self-indulgent, because I did feel like I needed to ask you some questions, but I know that that's not what this is about. So it's nice that I've been able to ask you a question. And yeah, I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time for the interview. Thanks for being so open and talk about, some things in your life. And I think it's so interesting for us to be vulnerable and talk about, our happiest moment and also about our challenging moments as well, because you never know who's watching this interview, and they might find themselves in the place that we are right now. And I think it's all about connecting with people, sharing emotions, you know what I mean? And I think people appreciate that. Thanks so much. But before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
If I can read this, I've got it over here.
Sure.
It's something that I think once I start saying it, you'll know exactly what I'm going to finish with. But yeah, something that about a famous quote. A grandfather was walking with his grandson through the woods, sharing the wisdom he had gleaned throughout his 73 years. Holding the young boy's hand, the old man began. Within us, he said, are two wolves locked in a constant state of battle, a good wolf and a bad wolf. The good wolf represents all the good things we seek to be, brave, honest, true, happy, and generous of spirit. The bad wolf represents greed, anger, selfishness, arrogance, hatred, and fear. Throughout our lives, the man finished, these two wolves will battle. The young boy looked at his grandfather and asked, which one will win? And the grandfather replied simply, whichever one you feed. And I strongly believe in that the people that I sometimes I see, people I see on Twitter and things like that, are constantly feeding the angry wolf or the bad wolf. And I'm trying desperately to continually feed the good wolf, because yeah, if I'm doing it myself, hopefully that will encourage others to do the same. And with what's going on in the world, not wanting to name specific areas, I hope that the good will out, and obviously around the kind of start of the year as we are, it's a good place to start off with good intention, good thought, and positivity. Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And I guess it fits very well, during this time of day. We are literally starting a new year right now. And I just hope, to everyone and to you as well, to your family, that, all is a new year starting, and I wish you the best. I think all those, as you're saying about those roles and the plays and, starting your TikTok page, doing your, promoting everything. So I think I wish you the best, and I hope that things just come in the right moments for you, and you're gonna be ready and fresh and ready to face the journey. So thanks so much for taking the time. Happy New Year to you and your family, and you keep in touch. It was a pleasure connecting with you. Okay.
It's been an absolute joy. Thanks, William.
Amazing. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.